Good afternoon. You're watching the midday news on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you, and these are this hour's headlines. Pakistan trying to present an alarming picture to the world on bilateral ties, says India. Tells Islamabad to review decision to downgrade ties over Kashmir developments. Asserts that Pakistani claims on Kashmir are not supported by facts on the ground. Work hard with the determination to realize your dreams, asserts Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, urges youth to strive to build new India. Addresses second convocation of Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya in Indore. Heavy rains lashed Maharashtra and Karnataka. 2.5 lakh people evacuated from Sangli, Kolhapur and Pune. Red alert in Kerala after forecast of heavy rains. 14 people killed in rain-related incidents in Uttar Pradesh. President Ram Nath Kovind to confer Bharat Ratna on former President Pranab Mukherjee today. Social activist Nanaji Deshmukh and Bhupen Hazarika to get the award posthumously. And India and West Indies play first off for the 3 one-day internationals in Guyana today. India have already won a T20 international series 3-0 against the hosts. The top story this afternoon, India today asked Pakistan to review its decision to downgrade diplomatic and trade ties after its decision on Kashmir. On Wednesday, Pakistan had expelled the Indian envoy in Islamabad and had announced a 5-point plan that included downgrading its ties with India and suspending bilateral trade. Ministry of External Affairs released a statement stating that the intention behind Pakistan's measures is obviously to present an alarming picture to the world of our bilateral ties. It said that the reasons cited by Pakistan are not supported by facts on the ground and said that the recent decisions by the government and Parliament of India are driven by a commitment to extend to Jammu and Kashmir opportunities for the development that were earlier denied by a temporary provision in the Constitution. Well, after the government's move to abrogate Article 370 and bifurcate Jammu and Kashmir into 2 union territories, Pakistan on Wednesday decided to downgrade diplomatic ties with India, including the suspension of bilateral trade. Islamabad also expelled Indian High Commissioner Ajay Bisaria. The decision was taken by the Pakistan National Security Council, chaired by its Prime Minister Imran Khan. Pakistan also decided to approach the United Nations, including the Security Council. The development came a day after Parliament adopted a resolution scrapping special status to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 and passed a bill bifurcating the state into 2 union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. All right, Akhilesh Suman, our colleague, is now joining us live from the newsroom for more on that story. Akhilesh, so the government of India has clearly told Pakistan to review its decision, and also a very strong worded statement there by the MEA saying that the Constitution of India was, will and is always a sovereign matter, and seeking to interfere in that jurisdiction by, invoking an alarmist vision of the region will never succeed.
Yes, I think that the statement has come after due diligence on the matter, and the due diligence was given in the face of Pakistan was trying to create a situation that is tantamount of calling for war or conflict like this, and that is why MEA has said that you are trying to project an alarming picture. And that they have Pakistan yesterday has put 5 points, and India also has come up with the 5 points reply to the whole statement released by Pakistan yesterday. And these 5 points are quite matured, I will say. Other than telling it a very strong, I will tell that it is quite matured statement, because Jammu and Kashmir is a state, is a place where Pakistan always try to create confusion, try to create differences, and also try to create situation when anti-India forces can be encouraged. And that is why Prime Minister, that is why MEA has said that the whole effort is like trying to create a situation where people of Jammu Kashmir are incited, and that is why the statement says that review the whole thing, review the downgrading of diplomatic relations, review the downgrading of trade relations, and also try to think that it is internal affair of India, and India can take any decision how to develop a state, how to develop one part of the country that is remaining underdeveloped for various regions. And also it talks about gender discrimination in Jammu and Kashmir because of earlier 370 or 35A. So I think this, I will tell it, a quite matured statement from Indian side, and this should give a message in Pakistan Assembly, Pakistan Army, and Pakistani leaders that that this is the time when India and Pakistan should cooperate, because actually Pakistan is in a very difficult situation. The whole world is looking towards Pakistan, that how it will decrease the menace of terrorism. The whole world is blaming Pakistan for financing terrors, and if in this situation Pakistan is trying again to do the same thing for which the world is faulting the nation, I think it will be a self-defeating for Pakistan, and that is why the statement is quite suggestive to Pakistan that think this is the time for you to understand the reality, and I think let us see that how Pakistan responds to it. Aishwarya.
And Akhilesh, talking about the 5-point measures that the Pakistan has announced, one of them, of course, being the downgrading of the trade ties as well, and the closure of its airspace as well. So tell us in brief, how does this really affect India?
Actually, closure of a space was not in yesterday's release that Pakistan government has made, but I think a closure of airspace is like flexing your arms. That you have an airspace, so you can close it for time being or for certain parts of your airspace. So I think Pakistan is just trying to show that that we can disturb your economy, we can try to disturb your flight, your international connections, but it doesn't help, because last time also when Pakistan closed the airspace after Pulwama attack and after Balakot reply from Indian side, I think it did not made any difference in India's connection to the world, though some economic costs are there. But to get congenial situation inside the country, India can afford those economic costs, and I think it doesn't matter whether Pakistan closes their airspace, but only you can suggest from here that please mend your ways, please try to understand that how that you can save your own country, and that is why I think India did not react yesterday after seeing the whole 5-point release from Pakistan. It took a due diligence, it deliberated inside the MEA, PMO also involved, defense also involved, and then it was thought that yes, let us issue a statement that should be persuasive in nature rather than that going to confrontation. But the whole intention of Pakistan has been exposed in this release, and now it is time for Pakistan to give due diligence to this press release, because if Pakistan does not do, it will have its condemnation from the various side. And yes, US also has condemned Pakistan that you should not retaliate in aggressive manner. You should think that you have many obligations in the world to fulfill. So I think countries like Malaysia, other countries have also supported India's decision about 370 and 35A as an internal affair, and Pakistan should accept the new reality in India.
Absolutely. It may be a persuasive statement by the MEA, but a very clearly worded one that clearly says that Constitution of India was, is and will always be a sovereign matter. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates on that big story. And on to some other news. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Wednesday visited Shopian in Jammu and Kashmir and interacted with the state police personnel and local people. He assured the locals that their security is the government's responsibility. Doval was seen eating food on a footpath outside closed shops and talking to the locals. He also exchanged views with them on the security situation. Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, amid imposition of Section 144, the situation in all the three regions remained by and large peaceful for the third consecutive day. Shops also reopened in most parts of Jammu district and private traffic also plied normally. And Ajit Doval also met with the policemen in the area and praised their role in containing the situation in the state for the past several years. He arrived in the Kashmir Valley on Tuesday to reach out to the local people as a confidence-building measure in the valley. President Ram Nath Kovind has declared the abrogation of the provisions of Article 370 of the Constitution, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. A Gazette notification to this effect was issued by the Ministry of Law and Justice yesterday. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has said that the revocation of Article 370 for Jammu and Kashmir is an internal matter of India and nobody has the right to say anything about others' domestic affairs. The ruling Awami League General Secretary O. Kadir said this at an event in Dhaka. And Maldives has also backed India's decision to revoke Article 370 and bifurcate the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories, saying that every nation has the right to amend their laws as required. Meanwhile, in yet another incident of ceasefire violation in Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistani troops on Wednesday evening resorted to indiscriminate and unprovoked firing on Indian forward posts and civilian areas in the border district of Rajouri in Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistani troops used small arms fire and shelling with mortars along the line of control in Sundarbani sector of Rajouri district. And Indian troops gave a befitting reply to the Pakistani roaring guns. The exchange of fire between the two armies continued till 2:30 a.m. today. And this was the third ceasefire violation along the line of control in the past 4 days. On to some other news. Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday raised with Bangladesh India's concerns over the illegal immigration from that country to the northeast of our country. The issue was flagged before Bangladesh Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan at the 7th meeting of the India-Bangladesh Home Minister level talks in the national capital, Delhi. This came ahead of the publication of the final list of the National Register of Citizens in Assam on 31st of August. When the draft NRC was published last year, 40 lakh names were excluded. Assam and other northeastern states have been facing the problem of influx from neighbouring Bangladesh through the porous border. And both the Home Ministers reaffirmed the need to further curb the menace of trans-border crimes and therefore agreed to the need for greater cooperation to achieve our aim of a secure border. The Supreme Court today refused to accord an urgent hearing to a plea challenging the presidential order on Article 370, which revoked Jammu and Kashmir's special status. The Apex Court also declined the urgent hearing to another plea filed by a Congress activist against the government's decision to impose restrictions in Jammu and Kashmir after revoking the provisions of Article 370. The matter was mentioned for urgent listing before a bench headed by Justice N.V. Ramana. The court said that the pleas would be heard in due course. In midday news, we'll take a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
What are some key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha? Some of the key legislations introduced in Rajya Sabha are the Hindu Marriage and Divorce Bill 1952, the Hindu Succession Bill 1954, the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Bill 1969.
The prolific British poet and story writer Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the first masters of short stories in English. In 1894 appeared his Jungle Book, which became a children's classic all over the world. Kim, the story of Kimball O'Hara and his adventures in the Himalayas, is perhaps his most felicitous work published. Set in and concerned with India he had come to know and love so well. In 1907, Kipling became the first English language writer to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Welcome back after the break. A veteran Congress leader, Karen Singh, has said that he does not agree with the blanket condemnation of the government's move on Jammu and Kashmir. Karen Singh, in fact, welcomed the Union Territory status for Ladakh and said that political dialogue must continue in Kashmir to help resolve the issue. And the Election Commission on Wednesday notified a by-election to one Rajya Sabha seat of Uttar Pradesh. The Election Commission said that the notification for the lone seat of Rajya Sabha by poll would end on 14th of August, while the scrutiny of papers would be done on 16th of August. And the last date for the withdrawals is 19th of August. The polling, if required, would be held between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on 26th of August, and the result would be declared the same day. Remember, the seat fell vacant due to the resignation of Samajwadi Party member Neeraj Shekhar, who has now joined the BJP. The term of the seat is up to 25th of November 2020. Soon after the Rajya Sabha was adjourned sine die on Wednesday, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and about 25 leaders of various parties discussed a range of issues, including the functioning of Parliament and judiciary, role and responsibilities of MPs for around half an hour. The leaders expressed happiness over the productive Rajya Sabha session and noting that the improved interaction between the government and the opposition had enabled a good budget session. Chairman Naidu stressed on the need for regular and enhanced coordination between the two for sustaining the improved productivity of the upper house. The Prime Minister also stressed on the need for the MPs to be sensitive to the public perception about them. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, Leader of the House Thawar Chand Gehlot, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Ram Gopal Yadav, Derek O'Brien and other leaders attended the meet. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today advised the youth to work hard with determination to realize their dreams and strive dedicatedly to build a new India. He said this while addressing the second convocation of Shri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya in Indore. He added that higher education in the country continues to face many fundamental challenges of access, equity, affordability and quality. He said that he is confident that the private universities and institutions will play an instrumental role in overcoming these challenges. The Vice President also called upon all academic establishments to completely revamp their curriculum and teaching methods, utilize the latest IT tools, and promote the culture of research in a big way.
Purusha, ye bhedbhav. This is called as discrimination. We must put an end to this discrimination. No social discrimination, no gender discrimination. All are one, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion and region. Atak se lekar Katak tak, Kanyakumari se lekar Kashmir tak. Entire India is one. We are all Indians. Hum sab log Bharatiya hai. Forward, backward, men, women, all these are for other things. But as a society is concerned, we must treat all people together. Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Jain, Saiva, Vaishnava, or even Arya Samajist. That is your belief, that is your way of worship, but we are all Indians. Whoever have chosen not to go to Pakistan but wanted to remain India, irrespective of their religion, they are all Indians. All Muslims in India, they are our Indians. We have to follow our own way of living, and we must also learn how to live with the nature. If you take care of nature, nature will take care of you. We are destroying nature, we are cutting trees, we are killing animals, particularly even the cattle which are useful for our agriculture, also worship also, which gives milk also. Cattle wealth is national wealth. This is what Mahatma Gandhi has said. And we are also playing with the water. We are destroying all the rivers. And now we are thinking of protecting the rivers, joining the rivers and all. The rains have become less nowadays, and we are not using that water properly, rainwater also. There is going to be water shortage everywhere. Keeping that in mind, we have to plan for conservation of water, reduce, reuse, recycle water. Nature के साथ जीना बहुत जरूरी है. Love and live with the nature.
And news on the monsoon situation. Well, swathes of country have been struggling due to heavy rains, and the situation continues to be grim as the Indian Met Department has predicted more showers for many regions today. The flood situation in Sangli, Kolhapur and Satara districts of Maharashtra remained grim, where 2.5 lakh people have been evacuated. 16 deaths in rain and flood-related incidents have been reported from western Maharashtra in the last 7 days. Floodgates were opened in the dams in Maharashtra yesterday. Meanwhile, all schools and colleges will remain closed in Kolhapur district today due to floods, and teams of the Territorial Army, the Navy and the NDRF are conducting rescue operations. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis reviewed the flood situation at a meeting in Mumbai yesterday, and he warned people against travelling on the Mumbai-Bengaluru National Highway. Meanwhile, the flood situation in parts of Karnataka also remained grim, with nearly 26,000 people being evacuated and 5 people killed in rain-related incidents in the past 3 days. Meanwhile, in Chhattisgarh, the Met Department has issued a warning of a very heavy rainfall at a few places in 5 districts of the state. And in Kerala, the State Disaster Management Authority has issued a red alert in 3 districts, and orange alert has been issued in 5 districts of the state today. Meanwhile, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, 14 people have lost their lives in rain-related incidents on Wednesday. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has expressed grief over the loss of lives. In a statement, he directed the respective district magistrates to immediately provide financial assistance of 4 lakh rupees each to the family members of the deceased. President Ram Nath Kovind will confer Bharat Ratna Award today on former President Pranab Mukherjee. Social activist Nanaji Deshmukh and legendary singer Bhupen Hazarika will get the award posthumously. Pranab Mukherjee, a lifelong congressman who has held several important posts, including that of Union Finance Minister, was the last president of India before Ram Nath Kovind succeeded him. Social activist Nanaji Deshmukh was a member of the Lok Sabha from 1977 to 1979, representing the Balrampur in Uttar Pradesh. He also served as a nominated member of the Rajya Sabha from 1999 to 2005. He also played an important role in the JP movement of the 1970s. And Bhupen Hazarika, legendary singer-composer from Assam, who died in 2011, will also be conferred with the award posthumously. And the 77th anniversary of the August Kranti Devas is being observed today. This day is considered as one of the most important milestones in the history of India's freedom struggle. On this date in 1942, Mahatma Gandhi gave a clarion call to end the British rule and launched the Quit India movement at the session of the All India Congress Committee in Mumbai. And after the failure of the Cripps mission, Gandhiji gave the call to do or die in his Quit India speech, which was delivered at the Gowalia Tank Maidan in Mumbai. And addressing a Gandhi Katha event on Wednesday, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that the teachings and preachings of Mahatma Gandhi are eternally relevant. He also urged people to take part in nation-building activities in a constructive manner. The Vice President was addressing a gathering in New Delhi. Well-known Gandhian, Dr. Shobana Radhakrishna, rendered Gandhi Katha on the occasion of 77th August Kranti Devas.
Gandhiji's teachings and preachings are eternal. They are relevant at that time, now, and in future also. So, and moreover, telling the life of Gandhi in a story form and also partly with some music, that really makes a good impact in the mind of the people.
And cricket news now, India having registered a clean sweep in the 3-match T20 international against the West Indies, are back to the one-day international business for the first time since the World Cup 2019. The 3-match ODI series will begin at the Providence Stadium in Guyana today. The match will start at 7 p.m. India time. And Virat Kohli will look to resolve the batting woes when the team takes up the challenge in the Caribbean island. Shikhar Dhawan makes a comeback in the ODI format, where he has been India's third best player after skipper Virat Kohli and his deputy Rohit Sharma. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.